Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Fargo Police Department's Downtown Download. We haven't been here for a while, so we're going to get these started up again. You'll notice today that our format's a little bit different than what we've done in the past. As you can see, we have a panel of folks that will be presenting today. We will not be taking public comment or questions during the presentation, but we'll be available afterwards if anyone does have any questions or wants to talk about any other issues that we don't touch on today. So what we really want to do today is highlight a lot of the great things that are happening downtown, not just from the police department, but also with some of our community partners. So we've invited some friends to come and help us with this. First off, I have Chandler Esslinger from Fargo Cass Public Health. I also have Joe Burgum from Folkways, and I have Cindy Graffio from the Downtown Community Partnership. And they'll each have a chance to present some different information from their respective organizations about what's going on downtown this summer and really update the public on some of the activities that are going to be happening. So to get started, we'll be talking first about what we're doing from the police department's perspective. We've got a lot of things going on downtown this summer, and we're pretty excited about some of the things that we're able to do this year. First and foremost, very timely, is that we have our community picnic tonight downtown at Broadway Square. That'll be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're hoping the weather will hold for us. It looks like there might be a chance of rain, but we're going to push forward the best we can with that. Open to the public, no charge, and we have a lot of great activities planned. Folks can come down and meet officers, see some of the specialty groups that work in our department, but also have a chance to visit with a lot of our community partners and other organizations that are providing a variety of services in the community. So it's always a big event for us each year, and we're excited to move it downtown this time. And we're really asking everybody to come out and join us for the festivities. And we're also be giving away 3 child-sized squad cars. So 3 lucky kids are going to be going home pretty happy tonight. So we're looking forward to that as well. The second thing I want to talk about is our engagement efforts downtown. For the last couple of years, we've really heard from the community that they want to see officers more present in the downtown area. And, we've always had beat officers that have worked in this area. We've also had the downtown resource officers. But this year, we retooled that program a little bit, and we put more officers on our engagement team. And our engagement team isn't just focused on downtown, but that is going to be a high priority for them. It's one of the most complex and highly visible neighborhoods in the city. And so we need to spend a lot of time there to not only do enforcement, but also build relationships and provide safety for the public. And so you're going to see a lot more officers. We've got 7 engagement officers on that team this year, and 1 sergeant that's going to be overseeing that. And we've been active now for the last couple of weeks, and I'm starting to hear some positive remarks about that. So that's a good sign, and we're going to continue that throughout the summer. We've got some of the most community-minded officers on that team, and they are really serious about building relationships and working collaboratively with other stakeholders in the downtown area to deal with not only quality of life issues, but also mental health issues. And we'll talk about those in a little bit. But again, just really being visible and providing that sense of safety and security for the public that are coming down to visit. Also kind of tied with that is our weekend evening presence. Again, that's another area that we've heard a lot of requests from the public about, to have officers more present during the bar closing time. And so we're really making some efforts this summer to boost that presence. That's not only involving our engagement officers, but we're also putting some overtime officers down there using grant funding. And we're going to try to do that consistently every weekend. And we've already had some success with that here the last couple of weekends. We're also looking at working collaboratively with Cass County Sheriff's Office and the North Dakota Highway Patrol to bring them down to help us with that effort. And we'll be trying to set up some details throughout this summer and into the fall to make that happen. And they're very enthusiastic about helping us with those efforts. So a lot going on with that as well. Just to touch on our mental health collaboration and our outreach efforts, we're working really closely with the Downtown Engagement Center and Fargo Cass Public Health, as well as Southeast Human Services, to try to not only do outreach with individuals that maybe aren't receiving services, but also to try to work collaboratively with those teams to help the folks that are receiving services that have very complex issues. And it isn't always going to be possible to use arrests or jail as a solution for those individuals. And so we are really want to improve and build that partnership with those groups to do our part to help them. Sometimes, there's safety or security issues that we need to help with, but also, we will frequently deal with some of these individuals, and we need to be part of that team to figure out the game plan to provide the services and the care that those folks need. And so we are going to be trying to build and expand that throughout the summer. And I know that Chandler's going to talk a little bit more about those efforts as well from their angle from public health. And last but not least, our downtown noise and vibration study will be kicking off here very soon. We're working with a firm out of Santa Monica, California called Van Eckleson Associates, and they'll be coming here soon to do setup. We already had our initial meeting to kind of discuss the game plan for this study. And a lot of the questions that have come up is, why are we even doing this? And, as I think most people are aware, throughout last year and into this year, we've had a lot of questions about noise enforcement. We've had concerns about street performers and other noise from the bars. And a lot of this has come from the downtown area, obviously. And so what we really are looking to do is, we see this study as being the first step in gathering data and getting professional input to help us refine and improve our current noise ordinance. And this isn't just about street performers. I want that to be very clear. We're not looking to limit them or eliminate them from the downtown area. What we're really trying to do, though, is we have a very rapidly changing environment in the downtown community. We have a lot more people living downtown than we've had in the past. We have hotels that haven't been there in the past. And there's a lot of competing interests. On top of that, we're trying to have a vibrant downtown. There's been a lot of time and money put into that. And so we have these competing interests. We have folks that want to live in relative quiet, and we have other folks that want to come down and enjoy the nightlife. And so we're trying to figure out where that balance is as a community. This isn't about what the police want. This is what the community wants. But the first step in this is really doing this study and figure out what is the ambient sound and what is a reasonable expectation for sound in the downtown area. And once we get that information, we can sit down as a work group and start putting together and looking at our current ordinance and figuring out what changes need to be made in that ordinance to better suit the community. Sometimes ordinances, when they're created, especially when it comes to noise, a lot of times there's ordinances that are copied from other communities. But what we're finding is that in a lot of other ways, Fargo's unique. And so we need to really create an ordinance that works for us. And that's not just, how are we going to regulate, or are we going to regulate street performers, but it's also, how are we going to deal with bar noise? How are we going to deal with traffic noise? How are we going to deal with other noise that might come up from HVAC systems, those types of things? There's a lot of things that in the downtown area that create noise, and that's something that will hope that the study will help us identify. And also we're looking to find some mitigation strategies from that study and the consultants, so that as a community we can find ways to maybe reduce noise as we further develop in the downtown area. So we're really excited to work with this group. They've done a lot of large projects in California and other areas across the country, and they have a wealth of expertise in this area. And so we're really looking forward for them to come to town and give us some guidance on how we can better improve our current ordinance. So more on that to come. With that, that is kind of a quick update on what the Fargo Police Department is up to downtown. I'm going to turn it over to Chandler from Fargo Cass Public Health.
All right, while we get things pulled up, thank you, Captain Helmick, for inviting us to be here today. Again, my name is Chandler Esslinger, and I am the Community Liaison for FargoCast Public Health's Harm Reduction Division in partnership with the City of Fargo. And today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what harm reduction programming looks like in our community, a little bit about harm reduction as a public health strategy, and then really spotlighting the Downtown Engagement Center and all of the resources we provide. So first of all, what is harm reduction? When we think about that in terms of the programming we have available, we really see ourselves as the role we play as supporting the health and well-being of our community by meeting people where they're at. We'll talk a little bit more about the Downtown Engagement Center, but we have a variety of different programs that we operate, including the Gladys Ray Shelter. The shelter has been around for many years and is one of the only low-barrier shelters in our region and across the entire state of North Dakota. Sobriety is not a precondition for entering into the shelter. We work with many justice-involved individuals, LGBTQ individuals, and ensure that we have a culturally responsive practice. We also operate the Harm Reduction Center, which is where we have our syringe services program and a variety of other resources available for drug users in our community. We operate our mobile outreach program, which really meets people where they're at in the community. If they are under the influence of substances, if they're having a mental health crisis, we can deploy the mobile outreach program to intervene in a slightly different way than some of the more traditional methods and help that person get connected to the right service at the right time. We also have overdose prevention and response programs that are employed throughout all of our different programs, but you can learn more about that specifically at the Harm Reduction Center or checking out our harm reduction vending machine in the Downtown Engagement Center. We also operate the Street Outreach Program, which helps us connect with individuals who are unhoused in our community, sometimes in atypical locations, and just doing proactive outreach to them. And then, of course, we have our Withdrawal Management Unit, which is co-located with the Gladys Ray Shelter and is a social detox facility. So when we talk about harm reduction, we're really talking about three different things. First and foremost, harm reduction is a philosophy. It's the way we orient our programs around reducing risks of specific behaviors that we know people are engaging in our community. It's also a practice. It's the policies and programs we implement to reduce harm of undesirable health outcomes. And a lot of these strategies have actually been around for a long time, like all the way back to the Industrial Revolution. But those of us who work in harm reduction and identify as harm reduction professionals know that harm reduction is a movement. It was really born from the 1980s during the HIV epidemic, where a lot of safer sex and safer drug use practices were being implemented, especially in lieu of a coordinated government response to intervene on some of those harms. And it's how marginalized communities have always taken care of themselves and each other, and it's how we will continue to do so. But in reality, when we zoom out a little bit, the majority of activities that we engage in, all of us engage in, have an element of risk or harm. And many of us actually practice harm reduction strategies every day. I have a few examples on the screen here of different things that we know help reduce the risks associated with different types of behaviors. My dad was an emergency room nurse for many years. So if there's two things I'm always doing, it's wearing my seatbelt and wearing a helmet, ensuring that I'm at the least risk if I were ever to get into a car accident or if I were to have a bike accident, that I'm protecting my brain and reducing the risk of head injury. Today, we have the police picnic this afternoon. We'll be busting out our sunscreen to prevent sunburns, which also puts us at higher risk of skin cancer, another way that we reduce potential harm to ourselves and to our children. Speed limits help set standards for what is expected for how we're going to operate our vehicles. We know if there's a lower speed limit, it's likely a congested area, maybe children are around. We're paying attention to make sure that we are not causing undue risk or harm to other people in our community. We have a smoke detector, a life vest, and Band-Aids. Again, all different things that we've implemented because we know we can do something about the risks associated with some different behaviors. Some of these practices have become laws, like wearing a seatbelt, and some of them have become social norms. And we really hope to continue that movement of harm reduction throughout a variety of different sectors and service providers. But when I think about harm reduction, I really think of it about creating an environment where people have access to a different choice. And access is really the crux of that. It's great if we have things that protect people or help them make a better choice or protect them from risks, but they also need to have access to that. And that's part of where the Downtown Engagement Center comes in. So why a Downtown Engagement Center? So first and foremost, we meet people where they're at. Contrary to some public perception, people experiencing homelessness and living in poverty have been living and existing in downtown long before the Downtown Engagement Center ever was developed. And like many of us here, the population we serve enjoys downtown for the very same reasons. It's the most walkable part of our community. There's access to transportation. There's a variety of different services available, as well as businesses, restaurants, bars that all of us like to frequent. And so we know that we need to come to where the people are. And so that is part of why the Downtown Engagement Center exists where it does. Additionally, it operates as a daytime drop-in center away from the elements. The people we serve need a place to be. If they don't have a home or if they don't have a different location that they can spend their time, they need a predictable, safe environment where they can come and access the services they need. We're able to meet a lot of the immediate needs of our community members. If somebody needs a snack, we get lots of food donations. If somebody needs a change of clothes or some shoes, we're often able to meet that need. Depending on the needs of the individual, we do our best to think creatively and leverage our resources to ensure that people are getting what they're coming to us for. As I've already mentioned, there's a variety of different ways that we employ harm reduction, but the Downtown Engagement Center is one additional location where people can come and receive the supplies they need to ensure that if they're engaging in risky behavior, they're protecting themselves, their peers, and the rest of our community when making those decisions. It's an opportunity for people to build social connectedness and promote positive relationships. Relationship building is an incredibly important part of working with marginalized populations, especially our unsheltered and unhoused community. And we have incredibly trained staff who work again to employ those trauma-informed, person-centered, strengths-based practices and really encourage self-determination from the individuals that we serve. And we have a variety of different providers on site where we can provide seamless connection to trusted resources. Now, seamless doesn't mean easy. It's not always easy to outreach to the population that we serve, but we have vetted and trusted resources on site every day. So when somebody's ready to take that next step or engage in a specific program or treatment, we're there to help them make that connection. And when we think about different strategies for engaging with vulnerable populations, we also know that a downtown engagement center, an engagement center like ours, is best practice for engaging with those individuals. So what are some of the resources that we provide at the Downtown Engagement Center, just from a public health perspective? So we have laundry facilities on site. Laundry is a huge barrier for our unsheltered population. Ensuring that they have consistent access, can make plans if they have upcoming appointments or interviews that they need to be prepared for. Having that laundry is a really, really vital support for furthering stability. Similarly, having reliable private showers and storage facilities is also something that is very inconsistent for our unhoused community members. And they really deserve the dignity of a private space to practice those basic hygiene needs and keep those important belongings to, again, further their stability. If somebody loses their ID or their birth certificate or any of those documents that we all know we need for employment or housing, it can be really difficult to help quickly move somebody out of their situation. So we're really proud that we're able to offer those services. And then, as I mentioned, we have a variety of different providers on site. I'll talk a little bit about them in just a minute, but want to highlight some of the state programs that those individuals and providers implement through Community Connect and Freedom Through Recovery. And so we're really thankful for those resources being available in North Dakota and that we're able to co-locate them with our Downtown Engagement Center. So on the screen here, we have 3 of the agencies that are actually co-located with us and have offices every single day. Presentation Partners in Housing is a housing first program that works to rapidly rehouse and continuously rehouse, if necessary, individuals who've experienced homelessness. They work with the most vulnerable population of our unhoused neighbors in the community and do a really great job of, again, meeting people where they're at and demolishing those barriers that come between them and that stable housing. Homeless Health is another service that we're really lucky to provide. Having healthcare services in an engagement center is also a best practice, and so we're really lucky to be able to do that. That's a program of Family Healthcare, which is our federally qualified healthcare center, which means that people who present for services have low or no cost services available to them. And then we also have Native Inc., which is a care coordination organization working specifically with the indigenous population with that culturally affirming practices and lens. And then we have a variety of other providers that reserve space at the deck to do outreach. Those are places like the Rape and Abuse Crisis Center, Better Together, Southeast Human Services, Way of Life, Arcos Health, and most recently, Fargo Cass Public Health has been having their family planning program come out and provide services on site directly to our individuals as well. All right. So just to wrap up with a few key takeaways, if there's 2 things I would like you all to remember from my presentation, number 1 is that the harm reduction philosophy has a role to play in almost any sector or service industry. Because meeting people where they're at is essential and everyone deserves access to safer, healthier choices and outcomes. And number 2, that all of our harm reduction programs are designed to get us closer to ending homelessness. We're not the only organization that has a role to play in ending homelessness. It takes a community-wide effort, but we're really grateful to have the presence downtown that we have and engage with the population that we serve in a consistent, predictable way. So thank you.
Thanks, Chandler. One of the reasons we invited Public Health to present and Chandler to present about the efforts of the Engagement Center is that they really deal with a lot of things that we as police department cannot do. They have a different mission, and they are really helping folks in a way that the police department can't necessarily do. We can certainly be a partner in that effort, but there's a lot of services and there's a lot of things that the engagement team and mobile outreach do for us as well that really take a load off of our demands. So they're really an important part of the downtown community and in our role as trying to keep the neighborhood safe. And there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes there that I think most people aren't even aware of. One thing, and I did say this on the media the other night too, is that it really needs to be said that not all homeless people are dangerous. There are people in that community, just like any other group, that can be a problem, but the vast majority of them are just looking for a place to do some of the things that Chandler talked about. And, again, the team at the Engagement Center is trying to help some of those folks find housing too, so that they have a place to do those things and don't have to wander the streets and not have a place to go. So a lot of great things going on there. And again, if they weren't there, I think we'd see a lot larger problem. So thank you for presenting that. All right, next I will turn it over to Joe Burgum with Folkways to talk about some of the great events they got coming up this summer here. Let's see here. Oops. All right, well, we'll make do here. Oh, need to click.
Oh, wait, they don't have full screen mode. No, I messed it up.
No, that'll work. Great to be with all of you. My name is Joe Burgum. I'm the Executive Director and co-founder of Folkways. Excited to be here with all of you today and appreciate the invitation from PD to be here. For those of you that don't know Folkways or opportunity to reintroduce us, we're an organization that's passionate about creating moments that connect community, create culture, and foster a sense of belonging. When my partner Simone and I co-founded Folkways 8 years ago, it was really after having opportunities to live in other major metros around the US, making a decision to move back to Fargo and saying, wow, there's some amazing opportunities in our community. There's some things that we love about this place, but there's also things that we as a community, we have an opportunity to expand upon if we're really going to be a vibrant place to live. Our vision for the Fargo-Moorhead area is to be the most vibrant small city in America. And for us, we really think about that when it comes down to a sense of belonging, really being in a community where we feel like our passions, our creativity, our community exists and we feel seen. And that for us thinks about vibrancy as it relates to art, music, entertainment, small business, and placemaking. Our craft of really creating spaces for community to come together and gather. In the last 8 years, we've had some amazing impact on our community. We just celebrated last week with an 8-year celebration. We've had an opportunity to attract over 600,000 people through our immersive experiences. We've had $9.8 million of economic impact in our local community. And I think most importantly, we've been able to create countless meaningful traditions and memories for people in our community. A little bit of a timeline, just for some context to some of the work that Folkways has been involved in over the years. We've done many murals in downtown Fargo. We host the Red River Farmers Market. We've been involved in placemaking projects like the Broadway Garage at the Goodyear Schumacher, as well as things like the Sauna and River Parade, or Canoe Parade. In a more recent timeline, you can see things like the Valley Alley mural behind Black Coffee and Waffle, our Chris Kindle Mart at the Civic Center, and of course the home of the Red River Market at Broadway Square, working with the Fargo Park District and others to bring that space to life. Some of our most well-known community events that we host in our community, the Red River Market, the Night Bazaar, and Chris Kindle Mart. I'm going to talk more deeply about the Red River Market and Night Bazaar here, as those are relevant upcoming events that affect downtown. The Chris Kindle Mart, we're slated for November, before and after Thanksgiving. We are going to run 2 weekends this year, which we're really excited about. In the past, we've run for 4 days. This year, we'll run for 6 before and after that Thanksgiving timeframe at the Civic Center. Some programs and work that are less known, working with the Chamber and the EDC, we have a program called Campus FM, which is focused on engaging young adults and college students in our community and inviting them to launch their careers here. We know that vibrancy is a super important part of the workforce attraction strategy in our community. We're believers that a vibrant culture is the magnet that brings people to this place, and it's the sense of belonging that's the glue that keeps people here. And so Campus FM is specifically focused on engaging with young adults in our community. You can check out our Instagram channel, Campus FM, which is where we have a group of young adults that are running that and talking about vibrancy in our communities. Public art is something that's been a consistent part of our work. We've done, a dozen so murals in downtown Fargo and have more planned. This is something that we work with the Arts Partnership and other organizations. And then Log the Mobile Sauna, which is a mobile sauna trailer that we built 7 years ago to really start a discussion about what does winter vibrancy look like and how do we learn from other cold weather communities. You can see this sometimes in front of the Sons of Norway or at the Plains Art Museum for community events, and we're very excited to be expanding our sauna programming this coming winter. So Red River Market, we'll have over 75 weekly vendors this year. Our opening date is July 8th. We estimate that we see well over 7,500 people every single week. Opening day could be 12,000, 13,000 people that come to downtown Fargo, and that's weekly on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. As it relates to this group, wanted to share just a high-level overview of the layout of the space. As a downtowner myself and an urbanist, we try to really think thoughtfully about when we do street closures, how does that impact businesses? How does that drive traffic to support those small businesses? But also how do we think about connectivity to things like parking ramps and bike racks, and how do you walk around in order to get to these events? So we've been on 2nd Avenue next to Broadway Square as sort of that standard closure as part of a Broadway Square expansion. We've headed to the west, down second to Roberts the last number of years. And this year, in coordination with the federal building and the city, we've gotten permission to close that half block in front of the post office. So we're going to try that as a layout and see how that feels. We've also done layouts where we've gone south down by the Forum. There's lots of good discussion about possibly continuing over to the Civic Center lawn to the east. There's a lot of drive lanes and curb cuts and access to parking ramps as you head to this east side of downtown, and it affects our ability to ensure that guests and patrons are safe and vendors are able to conduct commerce appropriately. So we're definitely working iteratively with city and engineering to think about this, but this is the layout that we're going to try, at least for the first month of the farmers market, and see how things flow this year with our expanded vendor slate. Here's a schedule for the season. We say we run every Saturday, but we're excited to be in collaboration with the street fair. And so the second Saturday of the year is street fair. And so we do a Sunday market, which is a really fun day downtown. Definitely feels more like a Saturday than a Sunday, but extend that street fair energy into the July 16th. And then from there on out, we're every single Saturday. We have a variety of themes and different events in order to be a platform for other community members to celebrate things like Jazz Fest, Pride at the Market, College Day, Back to School Market, thinking about how do we promote biking and skating, a Global Diversity Day, as well as our Fall Festival as we get into October, running all the way through the end of the month. Night Bazaar. This event is really fun and very whimsical. If you haven't had a chance, I hope you can join us tomorrow evening from 4 to 6 p.m. at Broadway Square. We think this is really an opportunity for the community to come and celebrate its quirkiness, be expressive in art and creativity, as well as an opportunity to shop with local vendors, makers, and food vendors. We'll have about 55 vendors for the event tomorrow, like I said, ranging from hot food to handmade goods. We have some great live music, entertainment, and this year we've themed all of our night bazaars. So Thursday's event is circus themed. July's event is Renaissance, and that is after TEDx Fargo that day. And then September is Magic. And so these are all different elements that we're excited to have games and activities, as well as our staff and others in the community dress up and perform throughout the event. Here's our current layout for the Night Bazaar event. We've expanded over the last couple of years. So as mentioned, we'll have 55 plus vendors, which is up from 35 last year and about 15 the year before. And so this is a iterative layout that we're trying. So you can see that we run east and we're closing the intersection of 5th Street and 2nd Avenue, allowing for that fire lane east and west, while still allowing access into the Civic ramp. If we head farther south, there is a Gate City teller lane that we need to accommodate, which is something we have done before. And so this is what we've talked through with engineering that we've been approved for this event. We're currently in process with the city to discuss this possible layout. I'm excited to see how the police picnic goes today, which is implementing this configuration, which does close a half block or a full block of Broadway. As mentioned, we want to be really thoughtful about street closures downtown because we know that street parking is key for small business success, and every parking spot represents tens and tens of thousands of dollars of annual income to a small business, so it's important that that's accessible. But also thinking about things like Broadway Square and guest experience, and how do we have a contiguous venue that allows for kids and families to move throughout the space where we're not closing, not having people cross streets, and they can be in a single area. So we hope to try this and see this. Again, as Captain mentioned, downtown is dynamic and changing. Broadway Square has only been around for 3 years, and so these different kind of configurations are things that we're trying to work through with different partners to say, hey, how might we get the most out of this space? How do we celebrate the businesses that are on Broadway and make sure that they're thriving from these events while still maintaining access to, for example, the new RDO parking ramp here, the Civic ramp here, the ROCO ramp this way. So being thoughtful about what intersections we're closing and not closing as people move through downtown. If you have questions, please shoot me an email. My email is joe@folkways.org. As mentioned, we're an organization that's really focused on vibrancy, and a big part of us for that is connecting with communities. So if you have ideas or thoughts or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. We run close to 44 event days a year throughout the community, not just in downtown. And we have events coming up in Moorhead this summer, as well as our off-season events that run from West Fargo all the way to West Acres with the farmers market. So we hope to see you at one of our events soon and appreciate the invitation to be here and share.
All right, thanks, Joe. Joe's vision and has really brought a lot of positive changes to downtown, and I know I've spent a lot of my policing career in the downtown area, and I've attended a lot of meetings where Joe has pitched ideas or, brought some concerns to the table. And, it's really been interesting here to see in the last 5, 6, 7 years how much downtown has changed because of the things that Joe has been doing in these events have really grown. And they're well run, they're family friendly, they're safe, and it cause no problems for us. And so we really hope everyone will come out and enjoy those events and enjoy downtown. So thanks for doing that, Joe. All right, next I will turn it over to Cindy Graffio from the Downtown Community Partnership.
Thank you, Captain. For those who are not familiar, the Downtown Community Partnership at our heart is a placemaking organization. Most of us affectionately call us Downtown Fargo. We support placemaking through a variety of activities. We drive foot traffic into the downtown area by hosting our own signature events like the St. Patrick's Day Parade, Street Fair, the Holiday Lights Parade. We promote downtown by supporting and amplifying the message through our social media accounts of other events that take place downtown, sales, fun things that our business community is doing. And then we do physical placemaking. We work closely with our partners at the City of Fargo to talk about physical streetscapes, strategic planning. We also administer the Business Improvement District. So our friends over in the blue polos that you see up and down the streets of downtown help keeping us safe and clean and welcoming for the visitors that we welcome to our community. And then we also advocate on behalf of our district and our business community at both the local and the state level to make sure that downtown Fargo has the resources that we need. And so we wanted to provide just a quick update today on our plan for Street Fair. So we are less than a month away from North Dakota's largest free outdoor event. Street Fair this year is July 13th through the 15th. Road closures begin on Wednesday, July 12th for setup day. We are welcoming over 200 vendors into our downtown area, 2 blocks of food court, plus another handful of blocks for our marketplace and craft and art vendors. Just similar, we're using the same layout as we did the last 2 years. So traffic will stay open on 1st and 4th Avenue to allow for EMS and traffic flow, and then closing Broadway the rest of those blocks. Our downtown businesses are strongly encouraged to set up sales or displays or demonstrations on our sidewalk. Us setting up vendors in the middle of Broadway is a thoughtful and intentional choice that allows the foot traffic to walk in between those vendors and our downtown businesses so that they can engage and take advantage of the foot traffic that is downtown. And so we also want to mention that parking downtown, because we do understand we're closing Broadway, parking information and visitors are encouraged to visit downtownfargo.com to see where parking is available. We encourage parking in many of the ramps that we have downtown so that people can park and enjoy and not worry about any parking limits or parking tickets that day. So we're very excited. We're less than a month away. Any nonprofit organizations that are looking for volunteer opportunities or hours, we are still welcoming that, and we do have a couple sponsorships available left if you work for an organization that would be interested in participating, because we could not do what we do without the generous support of our business community. So we're really excited. We're shaping up to have a great year this year.
All right, thanks, Cindy. And again, DCP is one of those really strong partners that we work with on a very regular basis, and they do a lot of great work in the bid as well. Victor and his team are constantly working very hard downtown to keep it clean and shiny. I think they do a very good job with that, and again, they're kind of our eyes around the street too, and we're not there, so we have a really good working relationship. And just to touch on the street fair too, we'll have our engagement officers out there in full force, so we'll be there all 3 days, and want to help make that a successful event like it is every year. So we're looking forward to that. So with that, again, my thanks to the panel members, Cindy and Joe and Chandler, for coming in and helping us talk about what's going on downtown. Again, just to reiterate, we're going to keep working throughout the summer on improving our visibility of officers and working on those partnerships and building those relationships in the downtown area. We'll deal with issues that come up, and we're going to just keep doing our part to try and keep downtown a great community and help improve it over the course of the summer. So We hope that we'll have the community support in doing that, and we are certainly open to any suggestions or concerns that the folks have, and they can reach us at the police department, can reach out to me directly. My contact information is on our website at fargopolice.com, and we'd be more than happy to visit and hear your concerns or suggestions that you might have. So again, thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate taking time out of your busy morning. And again, we hope to see everybody out at the community picnic tonight from 5 to 8 at Broadway Square. We'll see you out there. Thanks.